Hi everyone, it's Helen here and thank you for joining me today. Now today we're going to be making this card here. It's using Butterfly Basics and the coordinating thinlits. Now when I was a Stampin' Up demonstrator, this was the set that I chose to go with my starter kit. So it's been with me quite a long time and it is definitely one of my favourite sets. Obviously that's why I bought it. Okay, so when I actually made this card I used Gorgeous Grunge, which is right here, and I actually made this card before the retirement list came out, so it's now out of stock. Well, it is in the UK market. I have no idea how well it's doing in other markets, and it's such a shame that it's going. So today I'm going to make the same card and I'm going to make a different variation. Obviously I don't want to use a stamp set that you can't get hold of, but if you do have it, this is the card and that's what it looks like, and you can make that using Gorgeous Grunge. Okay, so set that aside. I have some alternatives here. I have Timeless Textures, so this does have the splatters, but they're very tiny, so you're going to have to splatter everything over there really fast. Or we have One Wild Ride, and it has this like tarmac, like dirt sort of patch, like an oil patch, but that would also look good on there as well. And for the stripes along the top you could use the Butterfly Basics strip across there. That wouldn't probably go in the tyres, but and then we have other patterns up here that we can use as well. So I haven't decided yet fully which one I'm going to do, so let's get on with making the card. We're going to do some messy work now. You're going to need a piece of watercolour paper and some sort of mat. I have a messy mat, so which is waterproof, so I can do some messy work on here, and I'm going to be using Melon Mambo. So I actually did some of this yesterday. No, it's still on my hands. Anyway, I'm not bothered about that. Okay, so this is the watercolour paper. I'm just going to stamp this on just to get it all along there. There we go. And I find I do like Melon Mambo, but it can be quite dark when you stamp it, so to lighten it up you can add some water. So before this dries, I've got a spray gun here. You can use a spray mister if you have the Stampin' Up one, so any sort of mister. And then we're just going to add loads of water to that, just drench it completely, and then let that run around, just getting the cardstock nicely covered. And then what I'm going to do is going to grab some kitchen towel, and then I'm just going to press that down, just lifting some of that up, and that gives us a lighter colour. So it doesn't matter if it goes blotchy or splodgy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to set that aside and leave that to dry, and I'm going to go and wash my hands and I'll be right back. Okay, so now for our butterfly. Now this is one I did yesterday, so this is what it looks like once it's dry. It's lovely vibrant pink, and I've used this butterfly die here to cut this one out. You'll probably need one of those brushy things from the catalogue, or your paper piercer. I use my paper piercer. Okay, so I've cut that out, and you could probably use this for something else. You can cut some more butterflies out and then maybe put some black behind it, just some ideas here, so that looks really nice. So I'll probably make something else with that. Okay, and also I've cut out of the watercolour paper, the same watercolour paper, the smaller butterfly, which is this one here. And that's stuck on my hand. Okay, so now we're going to do some heat embossing. Set these all aside. Grab some scrap paper. There we go. And then grab your Versamark and your heat embossing powder. I'm choosing gold. Okay, so we're going to be creating like a faux metal sort of effect. So we're going to be doing a few layers here. So grab your Versamark and just completely cover your butterfly with the Versamark. And then very carefully, by holding just the edges, sprinkle on your gold powder. can also dip it in as well, but I just like to use my spoon. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is preheat my heat gun. I'm going to heat it up and then I'll be right back. Okay, that's nice and hot. I'm going to try not to burn my fingers, so just be very careful. Okay, so just need to let that cool down and then we can do another layer. So as you can see, it looks nice. It's still quite textured. Let's pull all from the die cuts, there's a few extra little threads there, so that's cooled down. Yep. So on again, another layer. So the more layers you actually put on your butterfly, the smoother the gold will become. So you can add 2 or 3 layers. So just for this video, I'm just going to do the 2 layers. Okay, exactly the same thing again. Oops, okay, we've dropped it in now, let's just go for it. Okay, so let's heat that up again, see how that looks. Okay, so as you can see, it's it's a much smoother gold now. That looks really nice, so that could probably do with 1 more layer, but they're filming, so we're going to skip that stage. Okay, I'm going to keep that out because we're going to do some more heat embossing now. So I've got my black cardstock here. So this was an A4 piece of paper. It's been cut down lengthways and then folded in half. It's the easiest way of making it. So this is how we're going to be layering our card together. So now we're going to be doing the background. So I'm going to use some embossing buddy, but as it's a black cardstock, be very careful not to add too much because it can have trouble coming back off again. So you may have like a cloudy sort of blackboard effect on your card. So that's all I dare to put on there. I didn't tap, I just stroked it. I'm going to go with Timeless Textures, tiny one there, so I'm going to have to do a lot of dots. Okay, so grab my clear block, Versamark. Okay, I'm going to do this in sections, so I'm going to show you the first section and then I'll heat emboss it, and then I'll come right back after I've done that. So get this stamped everywhere, turning different directions here and there. Okay, so that's my first section. Okay, that's not too bad. I pressed a bit too hard there, so I'll go in with my paintbrush, a dry paintbrush, and then I will get that removed. So keep going. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, we don't want these squiggly lines, I'm going to go tidy that up and then I'll heat emboss it and then I'll be right back. Okay, so here it is, it's all done. There's a few lines on there, but they're going to be mostly covered up by the butterflies. And I have this acrylic block here. I've chosen to use the strip from the Butterfly Basics stamp set, so we're going to get that stamped down with some Versamark. Okay, get that stamped down again. Going to do 2 lines, 2 rows. Okay, and then we're going to do the same along the top there. Okay, so before we actually heat emboss that, so that's just a bare powder, I haven't set it yet, so I'm going to set that. Because we're going to be heat embossing, I want to do it all together. So moving on to our sentiment, I'm going to use my leftover cardstock. And I'm going to use a little thanks from One Big Meaning. And I'm going to heat emboss that with gold as well. So just line it up along the bottom, because we're going to trim that out. There we go. So now let's preheat our gun again because it's cooled down slightly, and then I'll be right back. Okay, we're all ready now. Okay, that's it for heat embossing. Okay, so now we can start assembling our card. I'm going to use Tombow for this. Just going to add it to strategic areas. Just like that. Oops. Okay, this stuff will dry clear, so there's no worries about that. Just going to add some just along the centre there, because I do want a bit of lift. And I'm going to line these body sections up. There we go. And now to get our paper trimmer out. Just need to trim out our little thanks. There we go, and I'm just going to trim this out down a little further and add a tiny little tail here on the end. If you want a bigger banner sort of tail, just leave a longer section on the end. There we go. Oh, and I do need to trim this down a bit actually. I should have done that first. And now our banner's a bit wonky. Never mind. Okay, let's move all this out of the way. Shove it all to the side. Okay, so now all I've got to do is stick that on, and I'm thinking dimensionals. Got a few here already cut out. Okay, there we go, 2 nice cards. There we go. Everything will be down below in the link if you need to look up any of the products that I've used today, and I hope to see you again next time.